What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Dave Whitson. And today we're going to be talking about individualized help. So, ways that our gyms offer individualized coaching or individualized help for people and how that can augment what you're doing within a class setting. Kind of what I wanted to start with is what class can do. So, what do our classes do? How it can help people get in shape, and then how individual help can kind of expedite some things.
Yes. So group fitness is great for a number of reasons. One of them is simply it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just is. It's just way more fun. Um, it also there's something to I have to show up at this time that gets people to show up a little bit more,
Yep.
right? And the fun is also part of it allows you to go more because you're not by yourself, right? You don't have to think as much. You probably have buddies that you're working out with, and then you don't need to know what you're working on specifically that day. You show up and you're told, right? So group fitness is great for general fitness,
Yeah.
which is what 90+% of us need, right? Like I don't need to train to run a 3-hour marathon because I don't have that as a goal. And I'm just not meant to do that.
Never will you ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I keep telling myself when it comes to like marathon and half marathon. It's like, well, I would want to train to do it really well. So that's why I haven't done it yet. Side note, I signed up for one half marathon one time. I think it was a half marathon. I trained for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks in, someone hit me from behind. I hurt 3 discs.
No.
So I took that as, my sign to not sign up for another running.
God's like, young David, this is not for you. Go sit down.
Yeah, it was fate. It was favor that I didn't run in that half marathon. Yeah. Actually, it turned out it poured and rained at that New Jersey half marathon, so it was pretty good. But yeah, there's something about a group fitness class that also builds bonds, so you stick with it long term,
Right.
right? And then to be 100% honest, it's way more it's in people's finances more than individual help, right? So you get a bunch of the benefits of individual help, but at the same time, you're not paying for the extra one-on-one attention, the hour of just one-on-one accountability, and someone programming directly for whatever your specific goal is. So general group class is fantastic. The time where we can add on to it is if you have a new specific goal or a specific issue,
Yeah.
right? So I think where we see this, the easiest example to give is the general nutrition advice that comes out of social media
Yeah.
versus that's kind of a bad example, but essentially general nutrition advice is pretty good. But for most of us, we don't have the ability to look at ourselves honestly and give ourselves good nutrition advice because otherwise we wouldn't have, I forget what the obesity rate is in the US right now.
Yeah. Nutrition's so wild because it's something, in my opinion, that people want to map in a not individualistic way,
Yes.
even more so than fitness. Like we
Yes.
did a podcast once where we were like, how to be fair, we were kind of bashing things like keto and intermittent fasting and all this stuff like that. But it was more, and it was our most viewed YouTube video. It got the most comments. 90+% of them were negative.
Oh yeah.
But it was all like, guys, you didn't listen to what I said. Like the keto people came out of the woodwork and
Oh yeah.
called me like the dumbest person to ever walk the earth.
Mhm.
And it was basically like, you didn't listen to the fact that I said most of the people who come into our gym who say they're doing keto are actually have no idea if they're doing keto because they're not testing their blood.
Yeah.
And so I was saying how like it sounds all well and good, but most people actually aren't even doing it right
Yeah.
and probably shouldn't even be going that route when they should be more looking at eating vegetables, getting enough lean protein, like
Mhm.
start more basic.
Yes.
But people get so dogmatic with nutrition, or they try to map what they think is right onto everyone instead
Yeah.
of being individualistic, that it's like, how could you say that? That's not true. It's like, okay, you clearly stopped listening at this point.
Yeah. Something triggered something and now they're commenting on it. Yeah. Back in the day that before keto, it was paleo.
Yeah.
And the paleo book that most people base stuff on was literally designed for people that weren't active. And then people who were super active were trying to do paleo.
I was one of those.
And then you became puffy paleo where you'd retain all this water weight and inflammation because your body just didn't have enough fuel.
Yeah, I wasn't one of those. I shriveled them to a raisin, basically.
Oh, poor Chris.
I walked around at like 165 pounds, just sad, like just a wimp.
I think it was 165 pounds in 6th grade. Pretty sure.
But to piggyback off of what you were saying with the group class, like that's me. Like
Yeah.
I don't have any specific goals right now. I love working out. And I know if I go too long without working out, I feel bad. I'm a mental patient. And so it's like, I know for me, group class is absolutely the best because it's like, you've seen me on a work day. Like it's bananas.
Yes.
And it's literally, I hate that lately I haven't been able to take class because of, the highways sinking into the earth. But it's like, so I've had to work out by myself and it's not as fun. Like
Yeah.
Courtney will tell you, Joe will tell you at Sparta, like when I step into 3:30 class, it's like, who let the kid out of school? Like, it's like, it's so refreshing for me. With that being said, and where I think you're going to go to next is like, however, if I did decide that, you know what, I really want to run a half marathon, or
Mhm.
I really want to do this triathlon, or I really want to, um, I used to be fairly competitive. And so it's like, if I was like, you know what? I got the competitive itch and it's like, I want to train for the Masters X, Y, or Z.
Or maybe you're signing up for a wrestling meet without practicing for
Did you hear about that, JJ?
it.
Quick aside. So I signed up for a wrestling tournament last weekend,
Not like WWE, but
like singlet, the whole nine.
Yeah, like actual wrestling.
Actual
yes,
wrestling.
yes.
So I
The sport of wrestling.
I haven't wrestled a match in 10 plus years. And it was at Friday Night Lights. It was like the high school whatever. I came in the singlet and I did the workout and I don't know, the juices were just flowing. And like a week or two later, I registered for the tournament.
This is where a coach could have helped him.
And it was funny was like, but again, I literally reached out to a guy I knew who owns a club in Hackettstown. Shout out Justin and Jason. And I was like, hey man, can I come in one time? Like I got to get my hands on someone. So it's
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, weird way to say that.
that's how we talk. I need to get my hands on someone. I need to roll. Like I need to do something one time.
It's
So
not making it better.
yeah. So the first time I do
It's wrestling.
yeah, I know. Wrestling guys, it's tough. So it's not happening the first time at the wrestling match. And it was great because I hope this kid's not gonna listen. He was no good. Like the guy I wrestled was so bad. And he was the only guy in my weight class. So I wrestled him twice and I pinned him and teched him. And my kids were in the corner as the coaches. And they're like, yeah, dad. It was so fun.
How old was this kid?
He was fresh out of high school.
Oh, so an 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah, bro. And I dusted him.
Who's washed up? Washed up.
That's it.
Look at the ass.
That's
I
it.
dusted him.
But let's get back on track.
We don't
So-
have competition problems.
no,
at all.
not at all.
Yeah.
It's not one of our core values at the least.
Tell that to that 18-year-old.
Yeah,
He
We
just
just-
learned.
he just went home sad. I go, I lost to
To an old man. He
with,
looks like
with
you're
an old man with his kids in the corner. So, but again, if I got one of those individual goals, like if I registered for a half marathon and never ran and only took class, that's bad news.
Yeah, you would get through it, but it wouldn't be great.
No.
You would do much better just using the group fitness class, whether it's our CrossFit gyms or SA Fit gyms, as the base of your fitness.
Yes.
And then just getting a little help individualized to what you're doing in your goals
Yeah.
as an add-on. Just because individualized help it can help speed up results for specific areas. And then the simple fact is if you have something like a half marathon, or we have some people that want to do a powerlifting meet, or even it's simple goals as even simple as, hey, I'd really like to work on this movement because I feel like I don't really need it.
Right.
A 30-minute personal training session on a specific movement, you will get way more help and way more direct feedback than taking a 60-minute class with 15 other people in it.
Right.
Like it's just the nature of it. And plus, if you haven't seen progress or understood progress in a specific movement the way that you would like to, you probably need just that little bit of help to
Yeah.
get you there. And so there's multiple layers of individual help, right? We talked about nutrition. Even just a quick conversation, you can learn a lot with one of the GMs, or if there's someone that's specific for nutrition wherever you're working out. And then the next step is more individualized
Mhm.
towards you, right? So we do in-body scans. We have individualized nutrition based on that. And then we can eventually ramp up to the point where it's more dialed in, where you're actually getting real, macro attention, more accountability, more to dive into those things. And then when it comes to movements or outside things that you wouldn't necessarily work on in a 6-minute class in a classroom,
Mhm.
like Nash just did a running seminar.
Yep.
We have Murph coming up for the CrossFit gyms. JJ shaking his head because he was there. Probably blew his mind the way she talked about running.
It was a great seminar. Definitely learned a lot.
Yeah.
She definitely has a lot of knowledge on how to properly run and not look like an idiot.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, try not to look like a robot. Did she say pick your nose, pick your pocket? Did she do that one with you guys?
We did. I think it was ear. She said
Yeah,
ear
yeah.
though.
With the kids, we say pick your nose because
Mhm.
they learn it better.
And they're probably like, "Ah, ha, ha, ha,
It's
ha."
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's also some of our coaches are subject matter experts in certain areas,
Yeah.
right? So for NAS, it's running, prenatal, postpartum stuff,
Yep.
right? If you're a mom. And again, if you go to her for any of those areas, you'll get so much in such a short amount of time. And then she also has the ability to tell you what to do next,
Mm.
right? So it's more kind of long term how we can map this out. And you can do this individually help, whether it's for running, going to a wrestling meet, maybe there's certain skill movements you need. That could be anything like a 30-minute skill PT session, 60-minute PT sessions. We're going to do more seminars where we can have micro courses out of it. So it's kind of that blend between individualized help and group fitness. Uh, we're rolling out hybrid programs at our Roseland location where it's extra work 2 to 3 days a week, 20 to 30 minutes that you add on to what you're doing.
Mhm.
And what's nice with that, again, is you have a coach that is looking at you overall to make sure you're not doing too much or too little.
Right, and they have access to the programming you're gonna do in class.
Yep.
Like, you have a lot of these, companies out there that'll say, "Sign up with me, get individual remote help,
Yep.
X, Y, or Z," but it's like, they don't have access to our class programming, and
Yep.
so it's like they might assign something like, if your goal is to I don't know, if your goal is to get better at Olympic weightlifting, right? And so you need some skill work in Olympic weightlifting, and so they have you doing clean waves on a Monday, but we back squat on a Tuesday, and then they have you doing overhead squat stuff on when all of a sudden you're squatting every single day.
Yeah. And for most people, it's going to be a tough toll on their body.
Yeah.
It just is. Super individualized help is you do 100% individualized programming,
Yeah, or
what
personal training.
or personal training. And long term, that stuff is if you have very specific goals. I think it, I mean, me personally, I almost feel that or every person should do a little bit of PT
Mhm.
just because it helps with some of the things that you're trying to work on.
Mhm.
And again, to be honest, I feel that most clients aren't great at expressing exactly what they're struggling with because they're trying to keep up with the rest of the class at times.
Right.
And what's fantastic about the group fitness model is that you can borrow the energy from everyone and you have that kind of natural competitiveness that happens. The downside of that is sometimes people will try and hide
Right.
what they're not good at or what they're actually struggling with. And so the plus side of individual help is just you one on one.
Mhm.
There's a lot of accountability. Most of the time people feel more, they can be more transparent. And you're getting the individualized help. The downside of it is the energy is all you.
Yes.
You're not working out with your buddies. It is all you.
And
So
I've
that's the flip side of
And
it.
I found that some people feel super awkward with that. It's like, I don't like being one-on-one with you, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want the coaching, but it's like, I want, like you said, the borrowed energy. I want to be able to talk to somebody else. I
Mhm.
don't want it to be like me and you just staring at each other for an hour. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, I have a personal training client I've trained for the last 7 years. She wouldn't to be honest, at one point I was like, you could why don't when I worked at my previous gym, I tried to get her like into at the time they ran like a modified class or
Mhm.
whatever. I was like, "Oh, we could do this." She had no interest. Like she
Yeah.
only wanted to work with me.
Yep.
Um and so that's why like you said we're testing it out at Roseland and why we've trying to add this as a layer to our service is for that reason is because at the end of the day, one of our we're going to roll this out next month, but one of our brand promises is that we're totally dedicated to the goals of the individual, right?
Yes.
I really don't care what your goals are. Not in the sense that I don't want you to achieve them, more like in the sense of I'm not going to project what goals you have. Like if you tell me you want to do something, cool. Let's get behind you and put the things in place to get you there. And so we want from a training perspective as well as a nutrition perspective, which you touched on a little bit, But right now we're talking training. From a training perspective, we want to have a very systematic way where people can go up the chain and down the chain depending
Yeah.
on what their goals are. And I feel like for a lot of our members and a lot of our goals, that hybrid avenue where I take class, but I have this one bugaboo that
Yep.
it's like I want to accomplish X. Cool. Here's drills for 2 to 3 days a week for a half hour. That'll help you make progress towards your goals. I feel like that's perfect for so many people.
Yeah. I mean, another good example, it's running, but we have two guys at Roseland that are running I want to say it's a 10K,
Something like that.
and neither one of them have ever ran a 10K ever. And so, of course, NAS is doing the programming for them.
Yeah.
So they have a program that they're doing monthly, and they're doing the running together too, which is kind of part. So they brought some of the group to their own, right, to their own deal. Um, and so they've been doing workouts twice a week outside of class. But then NAS has also said, hey, we're adding this to this warm up for your calves because neither one of you have the calves to run a 10K.
Right.
Hey, this day has a whole bunch of jumping. Change it to this because tomorrow you have a long run
Yes.
and different things like that. Because most people wouldn't look at it that way, where we're going to look at it and see, well, you're setting yourself up for sabotage because you're doing this on Wednesday, but you have a long run Thursday.
Yep.
We sprinted on Monday to work on your speed because you don't have good cadence while you run, which is a whole nother conversation, which I'm sure you learned about a little bit. Cadence. Most people don't realize it's really important for running. Right foot hits around 90 times per minute, and you start working with gravity a little bit.
We
Just
didn't
your
get
right
into
foot.
that. I know Nat said she wanted to get a lot more in depth, but she said she wants to do a little more.
We'll do it
seminars,
again.
so
Yeah, we'll do it again.
around the-
And so all this really helps with that, because you'll have outside fitness goals besides your general lose weight. I want to be in better shape. Or one of my favorite ones, not in a bad way, in a really good way, is, well, I realize I get tired quicker because now when I play with my kids, it's tough to get up.
Yeah.
Or why am I so out of breath going upstairs?
Mhm.
And then people hit that, which is awesome. And then they level up what their goals are. So, because their first goal is just to be generally healthy.
Yeah.
And then once you hit that, you start realizing that you can do these other things, kind of the fun sport outside stuff.
Yep.
Or I used to have someone where they started playing pickleball, but they had zero lateral movement. So twice a week we worked on agility.
Hmm.
So, and we did it for about 3 months, and then they're still playing pickleball. They feel good. Their hips and knees are good.
Yeah.
Right. So as you start becoming more and more generally fit and you realize you can do other kind of fitness adventures, whether it's obstacle course racing, high rocks type stuff, trail runs, like Patty did a 20-mile trail run or something crazy,
Jeez. Okay.
which is so hard. People have no idea how much harder trail running is. It is crazy how much harder
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
because the ground's not even, and so I'm running, but also trying to avoid things that I'm trying to
You're
run
stressed
around.
out.
Yes. Yes.
Nas had a trail run. I went to go watch her. I was like, man, why is this so hard? Oh, she's climbed a lot of elevation. I'm like, man, she doesn't look normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rocked. It was crazy. So as people kind of elevate their general fitness and start looking at other things they want to do, that's where the individualized help, whether it's hybrid, personal training, those things all come in to help the person.
Yeah.
And then they can accomplish that goal, stay in group fitness stuff so they can keep their baseline of fitness high. And then as they have new goals, they can bounce in and out.
Yeah, and that's the best part about, again, you and I are biased, right? But that's the best part about what we do, in my
Mhm.
opinion, is like I know, just speaking from, I've seen it all our gyms, whether it's Marquand, whether it's Courtney, um, Felicia. I've seen them have a client for a little while because they have a specific goal,
Mhm.
and then once they've done that, they don't do the PT anymore and they just do
Go to-
class.
yeah.
But that's why we've talked about a bunch is like, okay, we want to build out that training surface so that, again, if you're Joe Schmo walking in off the street, I can take our 6-week challenge.
Mhm.
I can progress into class. I've made all this progress. I've got an individual nutrition help. And then if I develop a specific goal, you have the services available underneath in our building.
Mhm.
That's like, you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to be able to, like you said, we're testing it at Roseland. And once we kind of work out some of the kinks, we're going to roll it out everywhere else. And I think that's going to be really helpful to make sure we maximize the results that everyone's getting in the gym. Again, no matter what their goals are,
Mhm.
right? We touched on it. For what we do in class, it's going to be, it's great for 90% of the people coming into our gym. But if you do develop a specific goal, we can have a specific solution to get you to where you want to go.
Absolutely.
So thanks for listening, guys. Like I said, we're really excited to talk how individualized help can help you out. And we do have a lot of personal training and various services available at our gyms for our members. And we have more coming. So be on the lookout for that. As always, guys, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform you listen on. I almost forgot what I usually do there. And as always, guys, we'll see you at the gym.